Here are my top 5 games of 2023. It was one of the best years ever for new releases, so not everything can make it, though I wanted to give a quick shout out to games I played that included Super Mario RPG, Spider-Man 2, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder, all of which probably would have made it any other year. It was hard to narrow it down to just 5 games, but here we go. At number 5, we have the Resident Evil 4 remake. Resident Evil 4 is one of the most influential games of all time, pretty much inventing the modern third-person shooter with its over-the-shoulder camera. I didn't get to play the original game when it came out in January of 2005 in the GameCube because I was only 8 years old and would have been traumatized for life playing it, but I'm really happy with the way the remake turned out. It looks beautiful visually and the gameplay is just as well as ever, if not even better, with the addition of the parry button, which allows you to counter any attack. With the parry button, plus the upgraded atmosphere to really emphasize the horror aspects of the game, there is enough new content here to really justify it as a new release for the year. And on top of that, it pretty much still plays as the best third-person shooter ever. I think it plays even better than The Last of Us and Uncharted do, so would highly recommend for anybody who loves action games, horror games, or the combination of both. Number 4 is Armored Core 6. From Software is my favorite developer on the planet, and they've delivered a game that plays just as fun as it looks, with its fast-paced gameplay and highly customizable mechs against the best set of bosses that I've seen this generation in any video game. It's similar to Dark Souls and Elden Ring in a sense that you're constantly getting unalived by these challenging bosses, but you're tweaking the way that you play the game, which adds a ton of depth to and replayability to it. There are 3 sets of final bosses, which encourages a ton of replay value, and the combination of its fast-paced gameplay is really just worth overcoming all of these challenges and something I'd recommend to people who loved From's other games like Dark Souls and Elden Ring. Number 3 is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Its predecessor Breath of the Wild was heralded as one of the best games ever made when it released 6 years ago, but Tears of the Kingdom has improved a ton upon the original game, from aspects like its dungeons, its boss fights, and its main villain, all while adding a ton of new physics-based gameplay, which has included a crafting system that's produced a ton of viral TikToks. Nintendo has done an excellent job of improving upon the base Hyrule map of the original game, so I would highly recommend this game to anybody who's a fan of open-world games. Number 2 is Alan Wake 2, which is an absolute enigma of a game. It's the scariest game I've ever played, but it's also hilarious. I'd say it's equal parts Hereditary and Everything Everywhere all at once. The game stars a writer named Alan Wake, who finds himself in a horror story that he doesn't remember writing, and a detective named Saga who has to investigate his disappearance. Where the game really shines is how unique its story structure is in a way that can only be delivered through a video game. It mixes gameplay, which has the best graphics I've ever seen in a console game, and an incredible atmosphere on top of that, with cutscenes and live action footage of real actors, including a 20-minute short film that you can find in the game, all interwoven together as one story that could only really be delivered through the aspect of a video game that can combine all of those things. I'd even recommend it to people that aren't really into horror. Really, if you've seen any A24 movie, you'd probably like this. And on top of it, it has 10 out of 10 musical numbers delivered through its band, the Old Gods of Asgard. And number 1 is Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is a game where you create a character that you can customize and you save the world from tentacle monsters, but that's where the similarities between you and other people end, because I have never seen a game that changes this much based on the decisions that you make as a player. Among other people that I've talked to, I've had major characters in my game not even appear in theirs, and vice versa. On top of it, the gameplay is incredible. It takes a ton of thought, as every battle is a chess match because of the enormous amounts of depth that the mechanics have. I took 107 hours to play through this game, and right after finishing it, I wanted to go back for more just so I could see what new decisions can make in a new playthrough. No game this year has offered so much at such a high level of quality, and I think looking back 5 years from now, I'd be hard-pressed to think of any other game that could do something similar even then.